How are you? Ah, other crazy nights and days here lately. Um, where do I start? So, I live my life the best way I can and the only way I know sometimes. And sometimes I get outside my comfort zone a lot because I find that's where the growth is. And staying out of, I'll call it the little prison box of my thoughts and my beliefs and the societal conditioning, uh, shows me the lies, the untruth, the programs that have infected my mind and infected my reality and forced me to be in the control of others, of a societal program of having a job and doing work and paying bills and get married, have kids, feed the system, blah, 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 which is all very carefully orchestrated to ensure we're so busy we don't even know what's going on. So I've had to take some hiatus in my life the last while. My business got damaged so badly that I couldn't continue it, and I had to pull back. And I don't want this to be a sob story, but it basically has given me the time to explore. And I did some things that some people might make them uncomfortable. I used up my pension money and other things to allow me to have a sabbatical, a hiatus, whatever you want to call it, to truly and completely explore myself. And in that, I found many things that were uncomfortable. I had many experiences that felt like falling on my face more times than I can count. But I've always been very vulnerable about it, and I've always been very open speaking of those experiences, not because I want to project that messiness to others. It's more because it's a real part of the awakening process. We are all falling on our face every day in some ways. Some days we're not falling on our face. Some days we're making huge strides. But the whole process is to fall on your face when there's no real plan, there's no real program, there's no typical or normal way to go through something, then you fall on your face. You start to kind of fall back on subconscious programs, and you end up hitting bottom, creating stuff that doesn't serve you in the way you think. It may be serving you in showing you where you're misled and uncomfortable, but it may not be the path that you want, which is, okay, success and having money and having partners and all this kind of stuff. We have to love ourselves first. And loving ourselves first means we have to look at every messy, dirty bit of our past, of our trauma, that's our shadow work, and start to accept it, start to acknowledge that it's there, give it love, because it's really our inner child, and to earn the trust of that inner child back. And by having our adult self fall on our face once in a while, that inner child starts to realize that their experience was no better. And when they felt they were falling on their face, that was part of the program and part of the system that basically shut us down and made us hide. So that child kind of has a whole bunch of pain, whole bunch of suffering, whole bunch of whatever, and it thinks he's alone. I'm a he, but it could be a she for you. But thinks he's alone in all of this and has no protector, no one to save them. Some of these wounds came from family, parents, lineage, from society, from church, from government, from school, there's a million of them. The news, and there's the last one. So this journey of awakening means we are because there's no book written on this right now. We are going by trial and error, making it through this life, this experience, and this thing that we've created from our higher self before we came to break ourselves out. And how do you break yourselves out? Well, you lean into the stuff that's uncomfortable. You lean into the stuff that makes your skin crawl, or have really direct conversations with people that aren't comfortable with direct conversations, that are in their fear, in their doubt, in their lack of integrity, that are going on old programs and basically trying to smash anybody that doesn't align with these limited beliefs that we have been given of, and programs of what men are, what women are, what our responsibilities are in each of these roles, in each of these archetypes. They're all programs that are designed to keep us from being self-aware. So tied up in a program, in feeding a system, that it's a massive brain fuck, mind fuck, whatever you want to call it, that keeps us from waking up to realize that we're more than just sheep. And I'm not using that word to denigrate anybody or tell them that they're bad or whatever, but I was a sheep for a long time in my life. I just followed everything. I listened to all the rules. I went to church. I was a sinner. I was a whatever. I was a sheep. I did not know any better. I was just wandering around in this set of rules that are all conflicting and making things impossible. And I didn't know any better. So I just followed the sheep next to me, and I listened and all this kind of stuff. Well, what happens when you start to think for yourself? When you start to break out of beliefs that are not serving you, that keep you imprisoned, you start to chafe against the system. You start to think outside the box. You start to walk outside the box. You start to do things that make other people uncomfortable. And it's a path we have to take. Whether or not you want to take it is completely your choice, and whether you're listening to this is completely your choice. And most of the stuff I'll tell you is something that's going to make you uncomfortable, because it goes against what your beliefs are. It goes against what you've been told to believe and what supposedly keeps you safe. But you're going to find out that very prison that keeps you safe also limits you so badly that you cannot have really your life, and you're not really in positive creation for yourself. You're in a mind spiral of bad situations, trauma that keeps recirculating, of food, beverages, all these kind of things that all attack our system. The whole system is built to dumb us down and keep us lost and addicted. And it doesn't even have to be drugs or alcohol that you're addicted to. You could be addicted to sugar, to sweets, to filling your mouth with food because it makes you feel good. That's an addiction. And I've been there. I weighed 280 pounds at one point in my life. I'm now in the process of exploring something called the carnivore diet. And this may make some people uncomfortable, that it's all got to be vegan and you got to eat light and you're harming animals and all these kind of things. These are all programs. Well, I'll tell you, the human being at its start, before it was evolved and consciously connected in community as we are now societally, he ate meat. Fish, meat, whatever. It was the thing that satiated him, filled him up quickly, gave him the strength to be able to conquer, to propagate the species, to attack a mountain lion and protect itself. That is what our bodies are conditioned to be okay with. And as I'm exploring this diet, that meat has everything in it we need. Where veganism and other things where you're eating only salads or plant-based or all this kind of stuff, you have to supplement to fill some of the needs for the protein and other things. And you can actually get very sick and die if you do not supplement some of this kind of stuff, because that diet was never meant to be our diet. There's a lot of programming and conditioning. And if you have a different belief, I absolutely support you or whatever, but I will not be shamed for the fact that I believe in eating meat. It's always grounded me. It's always made me feel good. I will tell you, if you want to go and research the carnivore diet, it is the cure to most of our autoimmune system issues, diabetes, all these kind of things. We stop getting carbohydrates and other things that are processed food that spike our blood sugar, and high fructose corn syrup and all this kind of stuff. I love those things. They're my addiction in some ways, but I'm now having to face it. And I took them away the last few days, and I've been having headaches, and I've been feeling very angry and frustrated and uncomfortable. So it's telling me there's something going on in my body. And why do we like all these things that are hard on our body and all this kind of stuff? Well, they give us a quick high. They give us a quick shot of energy, but then we have hard crashes afterwards. And then we're wondering why we're depressed and why we have mental issues, or why we're having to take antidepressants or stuff like this, because all these things amp up our blood sugar and our body for a very short period of time, and then they get used up because they're not sustainable. It's the fat and other things that are the sustenance that our body needs and gives it the power for long periods of time. So eating meat and those products exclusively, and staying away from fats and sugars and other things are making a change in me. Feels really uncomfortable. My body's detoxifying. I not enjoying this. I'm having headaches, all this kind of stuff, but I'm pursuing a different path. I've tried all those other paths. I dieted for a whole bunch of my life, which is the worst thing that you can do for your system. You start to hate yourself because you can't eat the foods that you want and all this kind of stuff. But my body's always been drawn to meat. I grew up on the prairies. That was a normal staple of my diet. And I honor you if you have a different belief or whatever, but I will, as I move through this, I'll compete head to head with anybody that wants to understand that the body has more energy, more luster, and is less diseased with a diet that is this. And there's hundreds of thousands, if not millions, of people that are following this path, and they're seeing massive results. So, once your body is in ketosis and it starts to burn its own fat and all this kind of stuff, you lose weight, and it changes how you process food, and you don't live on highs and lows. You live on a cycle that is based around meals. And I'm even finding I don't even have to have more than one meal a day, and my brother's having the same thing. So here's another thing that I'm trying to talk to people openly about, and I don't expect anybody to change to follow what I'm just, based on my results, I'm having this experience. Maybe you'll have the same experience. Choose, try, check it out, find out new information, find stuff that makes you feel uncomfortable and consume it, and then figure out why it makes you uncomfortable. Oh, is it going against your shame? That's the best gift that another person can do, is giving you the tools to break out of things like religion or being a sinner or having to do stuff to please God or these kind of things. We are part of God. There is no such thing as pleasing God. God is with us no matter what we do. We are a fractal of that God source. And some people say, well, then you're saying you're God. And I this Christian girl that I used to get massages from, I can't take that. I can't handle that, because they've given their power away. God is better than us. God is more powerful than us. Jesus is more powerful than us. These things are paths that keep you in incapacitation of taking your own power back and standing in your power and starting to realize that your choices, your thoughts, your plans, your programs are the very things that are coming out in your life. So if your life isn't working out, I will tell you that you got some programs in there that you're going to have to look at, and some of them are messy, and some of them are very deep-seated. Some of them are karmic. Some of them are way, way deep. Some of mine are around relationships and women. But until I find women that are looking at the world in the same way as me and not worried about beauty, worried about how they look, and then shamed about sexuality, believing in gossiping and stuff with each other and spreading rumors and all this kind of stuff. This stuff it's part of the old program. It has to slowly shrivel up and die, because when I directly approach it, it's like a gang. The women go together and it's like, I'm not willing to give up this, I'm not willing to give up that. And then they'll twist everything into you're bad and you're wrong and you're whatever. Well, I'm not bad, I'm not wrong, I'm different. And I don't expect to be attacked and destroyed for being different. I expect to be different and be allowed to be different. And if that makes you uncomfortable, then go watch someone else. But you'll be drawn back because everything I say is truth. Some of it is jaded by my own wounds and stuff like that, because I can't know any better until I work through them. But if you want clean and perfect and knows everything and whatever, I've yet to meet a person that is that. But I am the most real person you're ever going to meet. I talk vulnerably about everything. I speak openly about sexuality. I speak openly about the world and how it's fucked up and our programs and all these kind of things. And I will work with anybody that wants to go explore that and be real with themselves. That's an offer. But if you want to make me wrong, tell me I'm bad, I'll listen to anybody's perspective, because I may be wrong. But be prepared to receive direct light and direct truth if it's shown to have holes in it. I've had more than you can count people coming at me and saying, one woman tried to tell me that the Mormon church was perfect and it had sacred sexuality all figured out. And well, go do some research on the founder of the Mormon church. Go do some research on some of the things that happens in that religion. It's not perfect. And then she got mad when I basically started to step against what she was telling me was truth with my own truth, because I was checking in with my intuition and going deep, and it wasn't true. It was the darkness that was in that church and that created this, all I can call it is wounded religion. And if that makes you feel bad, well, I'm sorry. But a religion that forces people to give up their whole life and basically push everybody into their religion is not a safe religion. We have choice. We get to choose. And I know people that have been deeply embedded in a religion that had to claw their way out like a cult and was missionaries and other things, and they could not stand the message underneath, and they left, and they are in direct opposition to that church now. So I'm not saying this from a lie or from the outside. It's from actual experience and actual talking to people. So all I'm going to say is question everything. And if you're feeling just comfy and everything's good and the world's great and all this kind of stuff, I'm going to ask you to kind of start to look at some of the things. Yeah, that job doesn't last forever. I worked for a company called Nortel, and it went bankrupt out from under me, even though the company had $9 billion in the bank. There's fucking games going on there. I've married someone so that I could legally, in the Catholic religion, have sex with a person. And I waited until I was 30 years old. And well, that person had a trauma. And basically, none of what was said there even was allowed. And then it got traumatized back on me and told me I was fat and I was ugly and not worthy. And I had to beg. There's so much in this world. Don't even get me started about income taxes, stuff in the food, all this kind of stuff. And you can do your research and you'll find that this is true. There's no conspiracy theory here. It's just truth. So we are breaking out of a mold that's poisoning us and fogging our mind and other things. And I'm showing you a truth that's outside the traditional models, and it's going to feel uncomfortable. If you want to attack me about it, I'll go toe to toe with anybody. But if you're not in integrity about it, you just get blocked and be done, because I do not have to explain myself to people that are so stuck holding on, having their arms torn off by a reality that's not serving them. We're all, look at the nightmares that are going on, things with V's and other stuff that are going on. And there's whole new rounds coming, all to destroy part of the population, to make everybody in fear, these are all real truths that have all happened in recent history. Look at the stock markets, everything is starting to fall apart. The whole world is degrading at some level because the program no longer serves and people are waking up. And I'm waking up. I'm not perfectly woken up. I'm not an expert in any situation. I've still got my problems or whatever, but I've got a perspective that if you follow it will help you wake up and choose your own adventure along what you hold on to and what you don't. But eventually, once you're woken up enough, all this stuff will just start to fall down in front of you and you'll know that it's no longer serving. And that there's a different truth out there. And once you know the different truth, we become part of the light. We start to shine. We start to feel good. We start to wake up and no longer shove our shit down other people's throats and be better. So it's not always easy walking outside the box when the box is broken, but somebody's got to walk outside the box. Can you walk outside the box? Do you lean into your stuff that's uncomfortable? Do you question everything? Do you start to ask questions? Do you have hard and direct conversations? This is the stuff that I do, and I lead by example in it and talk about it regularly so other people can see it. I will tell you, the most amazing thing is the clarity of directness. When somebody is quietly not telling you the whole truth because they're scared that you might not like them or you can't handle the truth. If anything, they're hurting you more than you can possibly imagine, because at the end there's betrayal and a whole bunch of other things, all based on people not feeling safe being direct. Be direct. You're having a problem. Okay, yeah, you're having a problem. I'm not feeling good. I'm sick or can't make it today or whatever. I can't make it today. I'm not feeling great. Don't say, oh, well, the car broke down and blah, 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 and I'm not sure. My intuition can call your bullshit in a millisecond. I feel it. So be truthful. Oh, yeah, you're not feeling great. Okay, I honor that. Thank you for being truthful to me. Thank you for telling me. If I make you uncomfortable, thank you for telling me. But don't come and try and sway me to your perspective because your perspective feels safe even though you're dying in it, because it doesn't serve anyone. It's just more poop thrown in the air that I got to wade through, and I will not stand in poop. I will not stand in your projection, your judgment, your shaming, your whatever, and it will fall apart in front of me because the light always wins. The truth always wins. If you respond to it in truth, people will have no choice. They'll start to see it. It'll erode away that old behavior, those old programs, that old shit that basically keeps you stuck. And all brain fogged and believing that lies and everything will get you ahead. It doesn't. It fucks you up, and it fucks other people up just as bad. So are you the problem or are you the solution? I'm the solution, even though it doesn't feel good to hear it. But I stand here and I give you the solution every day. And I love you. Thank you.